At 25, being broke can feel like a rough month. At 35, the same kind of broke can feel like a quiet emergency. If you're on a low or middle income and you feel stuck, like you're doing your best but still living close to zero, this video is for you. We're going to talk about why broke hits harder later in life and what to do first at 25 versus 35, without hype, without guilt, and without pretending your bills aren't real. Picture the grocery aisle. You're doing silent math. One more item in the cart, one more dollar on the total, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you know a surprise bill is waiting in the month. In the US, more than a third of adults say they could not cover a sudden $400 expense using cash or its equivalent. And by age, the gap is real. In 2024, about 47% of ages 18 to 29 could cover it in cash, versus about 56% for ages 30 to 44. That's often the difference between annoying and devastating. This is WealthMentorPro, where every lesson is a step closer to your freedom. If you've ever wondered why broke felt survivable at 25 but scary at 35, and what a realistic plan looks like for either age, stay with me, because the first move isn't flashy. It's simple and it's doable. I've been the person refreshing my bank app like it might suddenly apologize. Here's the simplest way to understand the difference. At 25, being broke is often a starting line problem. You might be underpaid, early in your career, still figuring out housing, transportation, and how to run a life. It's hard, but you usually have more flexibility. You can change roommates, switch jobs, move cities, restart. At 35, being broke is often a pressure and time problem. The costs are higher, the stakes feel heavier, and the room to reset gets smaller. It's not just you. It might be a partner, a child, a parent, a car you need for work. The same mistake costs more time and more stress. Imagine you're 25, bringing home $2,200 a month. Rent is $1,050. Phone is $60. Transport is $180. After the basics, you might have a few $100s on a good month. Then, the car needs a $650 repair. If you have no savings, it goes on a card. And now, next month starts behind. Not because you're careless, because there was nowhere else for that expense to land. The first thing you need, at any age, is one clear number: what you must pay each month to keep your life running. Housing, utilities, minimum debt payments, transportation to work, and basic food. One total. Because if you don't know that number, you can't protect it. And when you can't protect it, the cost is usually fees, missed payments, and panic that follows you everywhere. And this is why broke starts to feel different later in life. Your fixed costs rise, and your flexibility shrinks. Even if your income goes up, your obligations often go up faster. Now, there's a second question that matters even more. What's the fastest way to stop one surprise from wrecking the whole month? Because life doesn't hit you with one big disaster every time. It hits you with small shocks: a tire, a dentist bill, a broken phone, a school fee. Bankrate's 2025 survey found nearly 24% of Americans have zero emergency savings, and only about 46% say they could cover 3 months of expenses from savings. The Federal Reserve's survey shows only about 55% say they have a rainy day fund that could cover 3 months of expenses. So if you feel unprepared, you're not alone. A lot of people are surviving, not buffering. This is also where most advice goes wrong. Some people jump straight to invest more or pay off debt faster, as if the problem is only discipline. But if you can't absorb a $400 or $500 hit, your first job isn't investing, it's stability. Your first target is a starter buffer, not 6 months, not perfection, a buffer that turns problems into annoyances instead of disasters. A practical range is $300 to $1,000, and it helps more than people think. Because when a surprise hits, you don't have to reach for a credit card at 11 p.m. You don't have to choose between groceries and a late fee. You have somewhere for the hit to land. If you can, keep that buffer separate. A simple savings account you don't touch for normal spending. Then automate something small, $10 or $20 per paycheck. That doesn't sound like much, but consistency matters more than size at the beginning. Because when you skip the buffer, every surprise becomes debt. Debt becomes interest, and interest quietly steals from next month's rent and groceries. So what comes first, buffer or debt. If you're living close to zero, a small buffer usually comes first, while you keep debt minimums going. Otherwise, you throw everything at debt, and the next surprise sends you right back. Now, zoom out for a second. A lot of people feel behind because they compare themselves to an average life they see online. But real life looks different. Median net worth in the U.S. is about $39,000 for households under 35 and about $135,600 for ages 35 to 44. Median means typical, closer to normal life than the highlight reel. So if you're 35 and nowhere near that, it can feel like everyone else got a secret invitation to adulthood. But the real reason it hurts isn't only comparison, it's what your life costs now and how little room you have to make a mistake. Childcare alone averages about $343 per week in posted daycare costs, over $1,300 a month. Add rent, food, and debt payments, and the month can feel like it's already spent before it begins. For example, imagine you're 35, taking home $3,200 a month. Rent is $1,200. Daycare is $1,300. Car insurance is $160. A minimum debt payment is $220. Before groceries, you're already near $3,000. So a $500 medical bill doesn't feel like a bill. It feels like a threat. If that's your life right now, I want you to hear this clearly. The goal is not to catch up to someone else's timeline. The goal is to build breathing room in your own timeline. And you do it with 3 simple rules. Before we get into them, think about your month for a second. What's the one bill that hits you hardest right now? Rent, groceries, debt, or childcare? Just name it in your head. That's the pressure point we're building around. Rule 1 is stability first. That means you protect the must-pays. You keep the lights on. You keep the roof over your head. You keep the car or transit that gets you to work. You keep basic food covered. And you build the starter buffer, even if it's slow. If you save $15 a week, you build $300 in 20 weeks. If you save $25 a week, you build $500 in 20 weeks. That $500 can cover a tire, a utility spike, or one of those please not this month moments. This isn't personal financial advice. It's a simple order of operations built for real life. Stop the emergencies first. Rule 2 is lower your fixed cost floor. The goal here is margin. Margin is what lets you breathe. If you cut $40 a month from recurring bills, that's $480 a year. That can cover a car repair without panic. That can keep you from adding another month of debt. So once a week, choose one recurring cost and work on it. A phone plan, subscriptions, insurance quotes, bank fees, delivery habits. If you can lower it, lower it. If you can't lower it, renegotiate it. If you can't renegotiate it, make it predictable so it stops ambushing you. Even a small reduction makes your whole month less fragile. Rule 3 is use a 90-day plan to buy time. Not a forever plan, not punishment, just a short season where you do a few things consistently. For 90 days, no new debt, $25 a week to the buffer, and $100 extra a month to one debt. In 3 months, that's about $300 in cash and $300 off a balance. Choose 2 sacrifices you can actually keep. Keep one small joy on purpose. Burnout is expensive, and write the plan down somewhere you'll see it. Then check in once a week for 10 minutes, like basic maintenance for your money. Now, the game plan looks a little different depending on your age. If you're broke at 25, your advantage is flexibility. Your job is to keep fixed costs low, build the starter buffer, and focus on skills that raise income over the next 12 to 24 months. You're not trying to win money, you're trying to stop being fragile. If you're broke at 35, your advantage is clarity. Your job is to protect the basics, build the buffer fast enough to stop the emergencies, then attack the debt pattern so it stops coming back. You're not trying to fix everything at once. You're trying to make next month safer than this month. And here's the big idea that ties it all together. Being broke isn't just a feeling. It's an equation. Income minus fixed costs minus surprises. When surprises have nowhere to land, they land on your future. So the next time you're in that grocery aisle, doing silent math, do the calm thing. Protect the must-pays. Feed the buffer, even if it's $5. Lower one fixed cost. Repeat. That's how broke at 25 becomes learning. That's how broke at 35 becomes rebuilding. This is Wealth Mentor Pro, where every lesson is a step closer to your freedom. If this helped you feel a little more clear, you can like the video and subscribe for more calm, practical money and mindset guidance. And if you want to keep going, watch the next suggested video. It'll help you take the next small step with more control.